Alright everyone, so in this video here, I wanted to give an update on my ROG Ally, or the ROG Ally. And first and foremost, I will say that the physical construction, the buttons, the sticks, the physical construction of this unit has been rock solid. No issues. I did put a screen protector on this. So it does have a screen protector, just to help protect it. But in terms of everything else about it, I would say, at least for me, 90% of the time has actually been pretty rock solid. Now, one issue I was running into had to do with the Xbox app. Now, because essentially what I did was I reset the thing. I reset this unit back to factory, set it up as a brand new device, set it up like it's like my first time using it. And now the Xbox app is working fine. This was an issue I was actually running into with my desktop computer, where the desktop app, or the Xbox app actually, would load up, and for whatever reason, it does not show the cloud gaming, Game Pass, or anything like that. No community. No, I think it had the community. It was strictly the Game Pass and the cloud gaming part of it. For whatever reason, those options never showed up. I tried different fixes. I tried different ways to try to get it to work without resetting this thing. And I ended up just resetting this thing and just starting this thing as new. And it's showing up now. So that part is fine now. So basically, I'm re-downloading all the games that I've been playing on this thing. The games I haven't really been playing, I'm just not going to download them. I can always just download them later. But basically, I'm downloading the stuff that I've been playing on this thing. And for the most part, it's been pretty solid. Now, there are a couple of things I need to do with this to basically optimize Windows for gaming. There's a couple of things I will need to change. But for the most part, this thing has actually been pretty rock solid for me. And while I don't think this device is necessarily a device that I can recommend to everyone, because, well, you have to understand this too, is that this is running full Windows 11. So it's running a full operating system. Now, if you are really, really familiar with setting up Windows and all that, then you shouldn't really have that many issues with this. However, if you're more of a console gamer and you are experimenting with like PC gaming, but you're not entirely sure you want to have like a gaming PC, or hell, you even get a Steam Deck. Well, there are aspects about the Steam Deck that I can recommend to people over this thing. However, for me, I kind of wanted a device that still ran Windows on it, mainly for the compatibility aspect of it. And the nice thing about it is that, well, I can have Epic Games, Steam, and Xbox all on this device, plus others like, GOG, EA, and all that stuff. Ubisoft, if I wanted to. But I can essentially just play whatever games for the most part. There are a couple of games I do have on Steam that just doesn't work all that well on the ROG Ally. And to be fair, wasn't really running all that well either on the Steam Deck. And one of the games is Returnal. And it runs fine on my desktop PC. When I had the PS5, it played fine. On these handheld devices, however, is a little too demanding. Where I will say that the ROG Ally did run the game better than the Steam Deck, but not by much. That game is just way too demanding. And honestly, they should have optimized that game more for these kinds of devices, honestly. So that's kind of a shame. But I will say that all of the other games I've been playing on this thing, and I'm talking about like more demanding games too. They've been playing pretty well on this thing. I'm actually quite surprised how well it plays. And I will say this too is that playing games even like Fortnite. Now I know some people will like make fun of it, fun of the game for someone like me that will play the game. But I will say this: playing Fortnite on the Switch is pretty much one of the worst ways to play Fortnite now. The ROG Ally just obviously just blows the Switch away in that aspect, in that you can essentially play Fortnite. Depending on the settings you put, you can actually play up to 120 frames, and that is something I will say that a lot of people don't really talk about when it comes to this device, is that this display has a 120 hertz display on it. So you can play games up to 120 frames. Though I will relegate it more for more simple games that supports it. But, if you put the, say, Fortnite in like performance mode, you can actually get it to run almost at 120 most of the time. But truthfully, with Fortnite for me, I usually try to get it locked at 60. And at that point, I'll just have the better looking graphic settings than the performance mode. And for the most part, it pretty much locks it at 60. So I'm perfectly fine with that. There are other games. And this is part of the reason why I really wanted to reset this thing to try to get the Xbox app working for the cloud gaming, but also for the PC Game Pass, because I'm a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber. So whatever games I will play on my Xbox, I can play the PC versions on my desktop computer or on this thing. So yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I have not been using my Nintendo Switch all that often lately. This thing has borderline replaced the Switch for me. And while I still enjoy the Switch, but I'm basically relegating it more towards the exclusives on the Switch. But when it comes to like everything else, I'm gonna try to get it on PC so that I can play it on this thing. But like I said before, overall, I've been enjoying this thing quite a bit. Yes, the battery life could be better, but that is true with the Steam Deck, and that is true with other PC-based handheld systems. That's probably the biggest factor, is the battery life. But what I will say is that if you're looking for a PC handheld system, this is probably going to be the best choice. Now, I'm not going to knock the Steam Deck. There is a reason for people to get the Steam Deck, of course. If you're strictly someone that only play PC games through Steam, you don't care about all the other services, and you want something a little bit cheaper than this thing, then yes, get the Steam Deck. And I will say too, if you are planning on getting the Steam Deck, get the cheapest version, the 64 gig version for like $399. Don't bother paying more for the other two higher tier versions. Save your money. Get yourself an SSD, like a terabyte or 2 terabytes. Replace the drive in the Steam Deck, reinstall Steam OS, and you're good to go. This ROG Ally, I did upgrade it to a terabyte. Depending on the pricing in the future, I may end up upgrading, but I may try to wait until there's potentially a 4 terabyte version. So I'll see what happens in the future. But for now, this ROG Ally is using the Sabrent 1 terabyte drive, and I do have a terabyte SD card. Now, there is one issue that apparently is becoming more common, and it wouldn't be fair for me not to mention, but it has to do with the SD card slot. Apparently, because it is up here next to the power plug, that's also where one of the vents is at. And apparently, it tends to overheat the SD cards and pretty much fries it. So the advice I would give you is that when it comes to the SD card, I pretty much use the SD card for either older games or smaller games that are not like, I would say, bandwidth reliance. So basically, if it's an older game or a game that doesn't really take advantage of using like an SSD drive, I would then just put it on the SD card. But besides that, the AAA games are pretty much going on the SD card. And there are games that does require an SSD. So that's probably the biggest issue with it. But I look at the SD card more as like a storage device for like older games on this thing, or like smaller titles that are not really that demanding, and I just don't want it to take space on the SSD. So, but yeah, so far I've been enjoying this thing. I don't regret this purchase, and honestly, never came to my mind to return it and get my money back either. So this is a device I do plan on keeping and using. So yeah, way to go. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like always, have a good one.